Hi, so welcome again to another fabulous interview series of my Hope interviews. And here we're really talking about how you can live your best life in 2021. So we're early in the year, and if you're someone who 2020 was kind of like, but for some people, it was probably the best time of their lives. But if you're looking to create 2021 the best of your life, then this interview that I have today is so much for you. And so let me just talk about who we have here today. Today we have Carrie Jeroslow, and I hope I said her last name correctly. She is an author, relationship coach, and soulmate expert. Carrie helps people go from heartbreak to soulmate by sharing the secrets to finding and maintaining empowering, fulfilling relationships. She has previously worked as a director for Blue Man Group, a massage therapist, and an energy healer, and currently owns a combination vineyard and winery in Yadkin Valley, North Carolina. The one constant in her life has been her own path to self discovery. She has helped many clients create profound life changing changes using the strategies in her number one best selling Amazon book, Why Do They Always Break Up With Me? Welcome, Carrie. I'm so excited that you're here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, April.
Fabulous. So before we, dive in, because you're going to be talking to us about the steps to living the dream life by the end of this year, 2021, why don't you give us a little background about how you became a relationship coach and a soulmate expert and a best-selling author? Like, really?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go back a little bit in my life because there's history to it. I was a theater kid, always involved in theater, and went to Florida State University, majored in theater with an emphasis in directing. Moved up to New York City, got a job with a casting director, casting commercials, ended up working with Blue Man Group, which in the very beginning of that company, I was their casting director and one of their directors. I mean, my career was really great. It was fulfilling and exciting. The one issue was relationships. I didn't know how to have a relationship. Most of my relationships were at the most 6 months, always ending in heartbreak every single time. And so being in New York City, I had the availability of a lot of different things that I didn't have in other areas. For instance, yoga, spirituality, astrology, all these different thought systems that pulled me in to try and understand my relationship issues, why I wasn't able to have a good, successful relationship. And so I learned a lot in that time and learned that a lot of it centered back to my parents' relationship and the divorce that they went through, and that I was emulating those patterns that my mom went through, which she was broken up with from my father. And so it was like I was living that out because that's what I saw when I was young, but I didn't know how to change it. And I did end up getting married. We actually had a really wonderful relationship. We moved to Las Vegas as I continued to work for Blue Man. I got into different healing modalities, energy healing modalities in early 2000, and started coaching people and working with people while I worked at Blue Man. Well, we got a divorce. He broke up with me. And so I knew that this was something I had to focus on. And so I dove into it head first and worked with an amazing coach, an energy healer that took me back to that time with my father, and really from a different perspective. Now, from having been divorced, married, divorced, it was a different perspective that I was looking at. And within 3 months, I had healed the relationship with my father, which was tremendous. I had healed the relationship with my first husband. We were the best of friends. And I was on the path of creating different relationships, different kinds of relationships with different kind of men. And then a year later, my husband walked in, and he's my soulmate. We've been married for 13 years. We have 2 beautiful little boys. And everything that I learned for over those 15 years, I wanted to bring together in a really practical system to help people figure out why they always created the same relationships, and more importantly, how to experience a different relationship. And so this book that I wrote at the beginning of 2020, the pandemic hit, my kids were home from school, everything was like, what is going on in the world? And I was like, I'm writing this book that I've wanted to write for 14 years. And so there you go. And that led me. And so I have a course around it. And, I've been working with clients even through every other career that I've done. I've been working with clients to help them doing different coaching and energy clearings and introspection. So yeah, that's my story.
Wow. And okay, so 3 months, that's crazy. To like develop this relationship with your father and your husband to where you're like best friends now. What do you think was key to that? Like what was the one thing that you harnessed? Like was it forgiveness? Like what was that?
Yeah. First, it was owning my own feelings.
Okay.
Owning my part in this creation. Now, the 3-dimensional perspective would say, I had nothing to do with my parents' divorce. There was nothing that I had to do. I couldn't control it. It was their thing. It was, what they went through. However, I really feel like there was so much that came from that divorce, and understanding the lessons and how I grew from that experience. And it made me who I am today. And I think coming into awareness of how it served me and how it became my path, my life path, my career path. Coming into that awareness helped shift it a lot. And then also, there was an energy healing modality called theta healing that shifted everything. And it is a tremendous energy healing that I went on to learn how to do as practitioner and teach. And it is an energetic healing modality where you actually, the belief is that we hold trauma and we hold thoughts and beliefs in ourselves energetically. So if I grow up not knowing what a healthy relationship is like, then that is the memory and the knowledge in my cells. And so that is what I think relationships are. Well, this modality can actually pull those programs energetically out of the cells and replace them with new beliefs. It's kind of a little out there, but I will tell you that when I do this with my clients, they experience complete shifts, and they don't even understand how to verbalize what's just happened. They just feel different. Their responses are different. They see the world differently. So I would say those 2 things were the pivotal parts of my healing.
Yeah, so I love that. So just really taking responsibility, not for what your parents did that, you had nothing to do with, but
Right.
just responsibility for your life and how whatever you downloaded into your psyche, and just making it your responsibility to get rid of the junk if there's junk to get rid of.
Absolutely.
So,
taking responsibility and coming to a place of gratitude for it. I would never change anything about my parents' divorce, because I am who I am today because of it. And I didn't always feel that way. But when I came to that, it just released so much of the pain from it. It was pretty transcendent.
Yeah, and then the theta, which is a healing practice you went through and that you do for your clients. Yeah, that sounds fabulous. Maybe we can get into that a little later. So So you, in essence, help your clients create the life that they want. And you're here to share with us a few steps that we can use to focus on this year. And this year it's already have jumped off like crazy.
Yes.
Okay, but so what would you say is the first thing we have to do?
So I think the first thing is to get clear on your dreams. Get clear on your vision, what you want. And I talk about this with my clients is if you were to sit on Santa's knee and Santa was like, I will give you anything. What do you want? What do you want your life to look like? If your answer is, I don't know, I have no clue, then that's where your work starts, is to get clear on what you want. If you have an idea of what you want, and then your little monkey mind comes in and is like, yeah, but how would you ever do that? Yeah, but like, do you have the money to do that? Are you really able? Then that's where your work begins, is to work on the beliefs that are keeping you from experiencing your vision, because anything is possible. I have gone from career to career to career and have manifested. I mean, right now I own a vineyard and winery. How did that happen? Well, it was because I got clear on it. I wrote it down, and that's the next step. I wrote it down in the present tense, and then I put it away and became grateful for where I was. And a year later, out of nowhere, this vineyard opportunity came. I mean, it is, I'm saying that it is totally possible. And I think that's part of the belief system that you have to have is, what do I want? And to know that it's possible and that you just have to be shown the way.
Yeah, so when you're creating a vision and it's 10, 20 years down the road, like how does one even start to think about, okay, where do I want to be in 20 years? I feel like, oh, what do you want in a year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, or what do you want in 3 years? Okay, yeah, I want a house and a husband, whatever, maybe not kids.
Yeah.
20 years? I mean, how does one even wrap their brain around that?
Yeah. I think looking at your passions and having an idea, having an idea of this is where I'd love to be, knowing that it can change. Because once you get on the path and you're stepping into what does this year look like? What does next year look like? You may think, oh, for example, like for me, I'll give you my experience. I love relationships. I love the idea of working on relationships because I think it funnels into every single area of our lives, because we have to relate to other people and we have to learn how to relate to ourselves. So I started out with relationships, mainly breakups. But then I found that one of my real interests is the idea of conscious relationships. That is taking responsibility for myself in a relationship and looking at myself as whole, and that, I'm responsible for my own stuff. So it's just a slight, right? It's a slight movement. But 1 year ago, I would not have known that's where I want to be. So it's having the vision of where you see yourself. And maybe it's on broader, ideas like I want to, I'll give you some of the things that are on my 20 year. I want to be able to travel whenever I want. I want to be able to show my kids the world. I want to create passive income. I want to feel fulfilled and happy and joyful. So see, these are broad things, but they're guiding the energy as to what will bring me that. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I love the way I love it when you said it could change, because I think a lot of times we feel like, okay, if I come up with my 20-year vision, then that is it. And so it's hard to think of your 20-year vision because it's like, I don't know, but like you freeing us to, hey, what do you think you want to do right now? And in 3 years, that could be totally different.
Absolutely. And that's all about trusting the journey. maybe that vision back in 2015 for 20 years from now got you to where you are in 2020, and it served its purpose. And so trusting that journey that you're on, that the things are going to show up in the perfect time and in the perfect way.
Now you said step 2 was writing it down, and I don't know if you want to like dive into that more,
Yeah.
but my question is, so are you writing this down daily, twice a day? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So writing it down in the present tense is important. So am I am coaching hundreds of people on conscious relationships in the present tense. And so I think with I write down my vision once a year for the year. So my husband and I sit down. We started this in 2000, I think it was 17, 18. And we wrote down a collective vision, and then we wrote down our individual vision for the year. So each year we do that. I like to do it in December. And then I like to just come back to it and see, because I wrote something down in December and it's only been 3 weeks in January, and I'm already like, oh, now I'm really clear on where I want to go. So I think just revisiting it, and I think whatever works for you to keep you aligned and conscious of it. However, with the vineyard, we wrote that down and we put it away. We didn't even look at it for a year. And my partners and my husband and I just got grateful for where we were today. Instead of just thinking, I wish I was there, we just said, what is awesome about our life now? And that, I felt, opened up the energy to come in to bring us what that creation is. So I think you could do it either way. And I've done it either way, and I continue to do it either way.
Yeah, I love that. Gratitude. So good. So good. So, I love that about getting clear on your vision, but also just going back to that and coming up with something you want to do. And I also love how you said, we're 3 weeks in there. So basically you wrote something down with 3 weeks in here, and now you can go back and maybe get more specific, maybe get more clearer.
Absolutely. And I can possibly sit and rewrite the vision with now my clarity of where I want to go. I can absolutely do that. I do a lot in my head. I do write it down, and I've written it down a lot, but I also am working out a lot in my head as well. And it's because I've trained myself to manifest in that way. That's a possibility. But when you're beginning to manifest, it's always good to write it down, to make sure that it is in the present tense. So one of the things that my doctor, that energy healer, did when I was in that 3 months was have me write down everything I wanted in a relationship. It was like 50 things. I wrote down, I have it, it's in my book. I actually have put it in my book, the exact manifestation. And that really helped me to get clear. And for him, he read it all and he was like, okay, this seems in alignment with you. This, just think about rewording that. So I had him to kind of bounce off and learn how to do it, which was very helpful.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I do remember my question. So, okay. So somebody's getting clear on their vision and they're writing it down. And as you were saying that, I was just kind of imagining and thinking like some of the things I write down. And I think you kind of already tapped into this a little bit, those negative thoughts that come in. So, I mean, is writing it down something that you can manifest what you want anyway because you're taking the action, or how much does mindset play into creating the life that you want, and you really need to tackle those negative thoughts or those negative emotions?
Absolutely. Writing it down is the first step, but not nearly the only step. You were absolutely correct in saying mindset is 100% important. And I want to, mindset is such a buzzword right now, right? Getting us in the right mindset. And what I have found through my work and what I work with my clients on is that when we have a belief, let's say I'm not good enough to coach people on relationships, right? And we tackle that with, I am good enough. I'm good enough. I'm good enough. I'm good enough. We're like talking ourselves into it. It creates a resistance. Okay. And there's a spiritual principle that says what you resist persists. And so if we're resisting the belief that I'm not good enough, it gets bigger. If we look at it and we accept that we feel that way and we say, it's okay. It's okay. I love myself anyway. I don't feel good enough and it's okay. Then it allows the energy to just let go a little bit and move. And so that acceptance practice is like step one in my whole relationship course is acceptance of your messy feelings. Then we allow it to move a little bit.
That makes so much sense. It kind of neutralizes everything. It's kind of funny because I'm sure you, the viewer, somebody has tried to do something so perfect, whether it was a cake or a hairstyle, or I don't know how they're gonna do their wedding or whatever, and then something happens and it messes everything up, and you're like, oh well, I'm just gonna go with the flow.
Yeah.
So that neutralizing those negative talks and responses, yeah, I can so totally see
exactly what you just said. Like, yes, we try to be this, like, have, let's just say, weddings, right? We try to have the perfect wedding, and then so we do weddings at the Vineyard. I've seen weddings of all different kinds with all different weather, and like, so we're doing it and everything's going wrong, right? It's raining, the guests aren't showing up, like, and the brides who are just like, oh my God, I just wanted this to be the most perfect day, end up having a horrible time. But the brides that are like, this is just what it is. All right, we're just gonna have it be the day that it's gonna be. It's like there's just this calmness that comes over their whole wedding. So that's a great example of just allowing it to be and being okay with it, and knowing that in some way you're trusting that it's gonna help you in some way, right? It's gonna work towards your advantage.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we're clear on our vision. Mm-hmm. We're writing it down in the present tense, such as I am. Mm-hmm. And then is there something we do after that?
Yes. So the next step that I am a huge proponent of is establishing a daily self-care practice. So in 2016, at the end of it, I had a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old. I was completely lost. I spent no time for myself. I was pulled in a million different directions. I couldn't have a clear thought if I even wanted to. And I decided, we've all been there, right? I decided that I was going to start a daily yoga practice. So I've been doing yoga since New York City, but very inconsistent, because I thought I got to do like a 30-minute or hour yoga class, and I can never do that with 2 kids and a business. No way. And so I decided that I was going to have a minimum of 3 sun salutations, which takes about 3 minutes. And I was going to do that at least every single day. If I could do a longer one, great. And I started documenting it. I had an injury in the first 30 days. I still kept doing it. I went into the hospital in the February. I still kept doing it. And now I am on my 5th year. And what I have found is that consistency is the key. Getting it into your body, whatever it is for you, whatever that self-care, meditation, mindfulness, yoga, singing a song, taking a bath, walking your dog. There's so many things that you can do, and this is 1 week of my program, I go through and help people develop a self-care practice that they can stick with. We can all find 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes less of Facebook, or Instagram. Just we can find that, and we are worth it. Because when you do a self-care act, you get to understand, like you start to quiet your mind a little bit to start bringing in some inspiration, some connection to yourself. It's just a single 5 minutes of the day to show yourself that you're worth it, to fill your container. And it has changed my whole life. Now, do I get on my mat and I don't want to be there? Yes, probably 30 to 40% of the time. I don't want to be there. I get to like 11:45. I got to do my yoga. I don't want to, but I do it. Do I spend 30% of the time with my mind in every different place other than my yoga mat? Yes, but I still show up. So that self-care practice helps you learn who you are, helps you have a safe space to come to every day. When I'm struggling, I sit on my mat and I just cry. That's okay. That's what I do. I sit in child's pose, I cry, but I know that I have that space to do that.
Oh my gosh, I have like a billion questions. Okay, which one? Because I can't ask them all. Okay, because no, I struggle with this, and so for any of the viewers who struggle with safe self-care too. So one of the questions I want to ask is, okay, so you're doing this daily yoga, and that's my thought too. No, it has to be half an hour. It has to be an hour. Otherwise, it's all or nothing, or I'm not going to do it. That's my mentality.
That was
five minutes. Well, what's the point? No, I don't have time for 5 minutes because it's not going to do anything anyway. So my question with that, because you said it really helped you, is it the 5 minutes of doing the self-care, what you're doing, or is it more of the mindset that you're doing something consistently that you think is, if my question's making sense?
Yeah. Well, let me see if I can answer that. I think that it is putting yourself first for 5 minutes a day, which is mindset, is I am worth 5 minutes a day to give to myself. And I'll tell you that of the 4 years, I've only done that 5 minutes maybe 10% of the time. Actually, usually once I get on my mat, I'm usually there for 10 minutes at least. Sometimes 20, sometimes 30, very rarely 60, very rarely. And it can be whatever speaks to your soul. I love to sing. I sing in private a lot. I'll sing a song for 3 minutes, and that's my self-care act for the day. So what I think is really important and how you start it is to come up with what your minimum will be. I like to put my clients in this mindset of it's 11:50 at night. You haven't done your self-care practice. What are you going to do? You can't go outside. It's raining, it's snowing, it's cold. You've got a little space inside. What are you going to do? For me, it was 3 sun salutations. Just because I've been doing yoga forever, I knew I could just bust out 3 sun salutations. And being okay with myself that my mind wasn't there, I didn't want to be there. But I have my minimum. So coming up with a minimum and then making a list of the things that you like to do, having a calendar, writing them out, knowing that you can change it. Let's say you said, today I'm going to do 3 sun salutations, but oh my God, I found an extra hour. So I'm going to do an hour practice, changing it. And the other thing that I would recommend, and this is what helps you be accountable, is to write down what you do every single day. So I'm going to show you because I have them here. This is in my first year, so it's really faded, but you can kind of see like day 148 out of 365. Okay. So I write it down every day. And when you get to like 300 or even 150, you're like, ooh, I'm not stopping. I've been doing this every day. And now I'm in my 5th year. So I'm seeing that number in the thousands. I'm not stopping. I'm like, I'm getting my yoga in every day. Because now it's like motivating me instead of it something I have to do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. Fabulous. Okay. So daily self-care practices. So important.
Yes. Okay, we ready for the last step?
Yes.
Okay. The last step is 3 parts.
Okay.
Take inspired action.
Okay.
Take inspired action. Just do something every day. It can be the littlest thing. It could just be your self-care practice, but do inspired action. And then the other 2 parts of that is to surrender and trust. Those are the hardest parts for me, right? It's like, I have this vision. I just want it to be that way. Why can't it be that way now? There is another spiritual concept called divine timing. Everything happens in the most divine timing, and you can't see it looking ahead. You can only see it looking behind. Oh, that's perfect that it didn't happen when I wanted it to, because I wasn't ready, or, my kids were going to go through something that I wouldn't have known about. So surrender and trust. Huge.
Yeah, those are very, very huge. Okay. So taking daily inspired action.
I think daily inspired action, although part of that daily inspired action can be to take a day of rest.
Okay.
Like, take that inspired action. I am inspired to rest, because if I push myself through, I'm not going to be good to anyone. And there's so much going on, like in 2020 and 2021, where the energy is so intense. I'm homeschooling 2 kids. I have several businesses. I need to make an inspired action to rest. Okay, so I don't think that that's talked about a lot, but it's important. It's really important to allow our brains and our bodies to catch up and be healthy.
No, I love that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go.
I love that, because like I have so many things to do. What am I gonna cook? And I gotta clean the house, and then I gotta do all this homeschooling because I have 4 kids. And
Oh God.
yeah, let's not go there.
You're awesome.
And thank you. And it's like, I'm tired, but I can't take a nap. And then some days it's like, you know what? I don't care what's going on. I don't care what I have to do. I have to take a nap. And so good for me there. But you're also saying those other days, if my intuition says take a nap, give myself permission to take a nap if that's what, surrender to what my intuition is telling me to do, and trust that it's going to be okay.
That is beautifully put. Yes. And your nap could be your self-care practice for the day.
Oh,
Because you're
I
taking
didn't think
care
of
of
it like
yourself.
that. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Naps for everybody. I'm right
with you.
That's my self-care and my naps. I love naps. Yes, I love. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to run by these because I've been taking so many notes. Okay. So we're going to get clear on our vision, and you like to review them once a year, or you can review them as often as you want, because sometimes you have to take a step back and tweak and update, because I think you said it without saying it. The more clear you are, the easier it's probably is to manifest.
Yeah, I think that then and the universe has more to give you. I remember asking the founder of Theta Healing. I went up to Idaho when she was in Idaho. She's in Montana now, and asked her. And this was before the vineyard and everything. And I was like, I just have such a huge vision. Is it too big? And she said, no. You want to fill it as much as you can. Make it big. Make it huge.
Love that. And then step 2 is writing it down daily. And
in the present tense.
In the present tense. So, okay, I feel like I was closing, and then I'm asking all these questions. But when you're writing it down, do you have to get a journal, write it down, like keep a history of that journal, or is it just writing it down? So today it could be a crayon on a napkin. Like, what's your thought on that?
I've done it. I love it. It's like with the kids' crowns. Draw a picture. I've done it in a lot of different ways. I've typed it in my computer and put it in a file called manifestations or visions. I have written it down in a journal, but I'm not the best journaler. I have had moments in my life where I've been a good journaler, but not ever since I've had kids, really. So sometimes, like, I'll write down, my wins or what I felt good about for the day, not just business, but personal. And then I'll write down my gratitude list or what I want to accomplish in the next day. So sometimes I do that on a daily. I don't have time to do that kind of thing on a daily. I wish I did, but I just try and get in. But if that was like a part of your self-care practice, then yeah, that's something that you would do daily.
Nice. And then, okay, and then you do the daily self-care practices, which could be journaling for someone, or taking a nap or whatever. And then
something that feeds your soul. That's what I wanted to say. Something that feeds your soul.
Gotcha. Nice. And then well, let me ask a question about that. So, could your daily self practice be laundry? So it's like, I want to do a load a day because it's Mount Rushmore, and like, is that cheating because it's for your family, or that could be your daily self practice to like it not get backed up?
I would say if you come at it from a mindful place that it feeds your soul. Okay, so for me, vacuuming, I love it. It's a spiritual practice for me. Yesterday, actually, I cleared something really big from my past, and I got the inspiration to vacuum my house, and not just the floor, but clear all the cobwebs, everywhere off of the ceilings. And that became a spiritual practice for me. That fed my soul. So I would have counted that. So it just depends. If you're going to do laundry, being like, God dang, I have so much laundry to do and I just want to get it done. No, that would not be a self-care practice. If you can do it and bring mindfulness to it of, I'm thankful for these clothes, I'm folding them, I'm thankful for all of this, I'm thankful that I have kids getting messy, that I have all these clothes to do, and you bring a mindfulness to it, then yeah, it can be a self-care practice.
Okay. And then lastly, step 4 is then taking action and surrendering to the process and trusting that you're on the right path to seeing that vision that you created in step 1.
And I'll just add one word to the take action, and that's inspired action. Because inspired means that it's coming from your intuition, something you're guided to do, not something you have to do. Now, we are always going to have those things that we have to do. I have to work on my website. I have to, but there are those moments that are, you know what? I just feel like I want to contact this person today. I'm just feeling it. And again, the self-care practice gets us out of our monkey mind and gets us into our heart. And so I'm just going to contact that person. So that kind of inspired action.
Awesome. This has been awesome. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like there's a ton of us that want to make 2021 the best year ever of our life to come. And so, how do we get in contact with you if we need more help and support with our vision?
Well, I am always honored to work with people. So you can go to my website, carriejeroslow.com, and see my offerings. I have the relationship course, which is an 8-week course. It is
Okay.
not just for people who are struggling with relationships. It will help you in every area of your life. It just gives a very practical 8-week, 8 steps to get you to that and to become more aware of everything that you want to create and manifest. I do that. I also do single intuitive coaching sessions. So that's where we work for 60 to 75 minutes. We're going to talk about what's going on, what you feel is blocking you, and I'm going to go into an intuitive space and help you clear some energy.
Nice.
So that's that. And then you can also buy a 4-pack of that with a little bit of a discount. And we just work session by session instead of going through the 8 steps to lead you from heartbreak to soulmate, or if you want to look at it as, off my path to on my path, however you want to look at it.
And so your course is evergreen, so it's available now?
Yeah, I'm working with people now, and
Nice.
just having great experiences with my clients. It's the most rewarding thing to have like a client who came to me, just for example, and they had just gone through a really tricky divorce, and 2 months later, she's like, guess who, what? I met this guy, came into my life. I wasn't even expecting it. I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. And she just wouldn't even have thought that by doing the work on herself, that would happen. And that happens a lot with my clients. We do the work and then they start seeing things show up in their lives.
Wow, that sounds fabulous. Thank you so much, Carrie, for being here. This has been so helpful.
Thank you, Aprille. It's such an honor to be here, and you're awesome. I love what you're doing too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there any last words you want to leave with our viewers before we go?
I think I would just say that it is possible for your dreams to become reality. It is, and I experienced it. And I've experienced the heartbreak too of like, is it going to happen? But it is possible. And I would just be honored and love to show you the way.